Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another Saturday morning market watch. Today is Saturday, September 21st. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Uh, yeah, so this week was pretty quiet for me. I had a bunch of things at work, but it was fine. If you guys are going to be enjoying the video, make sure to leave a like. If you really enjoy it, make sure to subscribe. But let's get straight on into it. So the one thing I do want to show you guys first is I did go to a couple of tournaments that didn't fire, unfortunately, this week. But they did give us some prizing just to, say thank you for showing up, and I pulled probably the worst ulti I've ever pulled, which is an ultimate rare Head of Exodia, or Exodia the Forbidden One, and I'm just now noticing, oh my goodness, God, the quality control on this is terrible. I don't know if you guys can see that, but the 1 and the N are just like worn off. So, yeah, fun. But probably the worst ultimate rare I've ever pulled. But it is an ultimate rare, so I won't complain. So let's go ahead and get straight on into it today. As always, with the best-selling cards of the week, we had a lot of changes with the Megatins, and we are going to go over those. Well, let's get on to it. So let's see. Famous Engraver is holding 90. I think this is probably where it's going to stay until October when we get the new Fiendsmith card. So if you guys don't have your Fiendsmith and you think you might want to play with them, I'm going to highly recommend you consider picking them up. Engraver is only going to get more expensive as the set isn't being printed. Molcharmi's up to 55. It was 50 for a long time. It was holding 50, but now it's up to 55. I think people are realizing that it's going to be good. And if it is going to be good, then, you might as well pick it up. Grass Looks Greener, still holding 30 for the solo print. I would be very surprised if this wasn't in the tournament pack that's coming up in October, tournament pack 26. And again, if this wasn't in Quarter Century Bonanza. So if you have them, maybe consider just moving them. I don't think they're going to get much higher than this. I think they're only going to go lower. The only way they go higher is if somebody, wins a YCS with a grass deck, which I'm not going to say that's unlikely, but I don't think it will happen. Thrust from the Dueling Mirrortins, we'll cover this, but this is up to 35. It was 27, so popped up a couple dollars. If you bought it earlier, I mean, congratulations. I do think this might drop a little bit. We might see 30s, but yeah, we'll talk about that maybe a little bit more. SP Little Knights holding 40. That is way higher than I thought. I mean, it's not higher than I thought, but it is more than I thought, more than I wanted it to be. I did think that this was going to be about $30, maybe 40. I think it's going to be going up even more considering how bloated and how short printed the tins are, but we'll talk about that later, maybe even in a separate video. If you guys want to see a short video of me complaining about the tins, leave a like, leave a comment, all that kind of stuff. Phantom of Yubel holding 40. It's becoming more and more clear that Yubel is just the best deck for this short format. And while the Azamina cards and the new Fiendsmith cards are going to shake things up a lot, I think people are going to be sticking with Yubel, especially after all the experience they've gained from these last few weeks. Silver Hat Rabbit is climbing down very slowly, but it is still holding 20. One card I did want to talk about real quick, and we can pull it up here, is I wanted to pull up the Azure Rune statue. I think it's statue. Angel Statue Azure, yeah. So this card was a common in the 22 tins. So that's only about 50 cents, but it was a super rare in Blazing Vortex. Blazing Vortex was such a bad set that stuck around for so long, and it is holding around a $4 or $5 mark. So if you have a lot of Blazing Vortex bulk like I do, maybe go ahead and take a look. Might be able to pull out a couple super rares for this, and you might be able to offload them for a couple bucks. Penny stonks are penny stonks, and we'll take those. So moving past that, LZ still holding 31. I think this is gonna go. This is gonna keep holding its price. People are liking White Forest, especially like a White Forest Runic build. It's just a pretty fair deck that it is interesting and fun. OG SP Little Knights, it says its market price is about 70. It's definitely down from where it was when it started, but I don't think this is going to stay up too high. I think these should equalize a little bit. The OG Secret will probably hold a little bit more value just because people like normal secrets more than prismatic secrets, but they'll probably be like $40 and $50, somewhere around there. The Blue Eyes the Blue Eyes QCR is $20. That's fun. I am so surprised that the QCR Head of Exodia is $15. I mean, I know why. It's because it's a nice rarity. It's fairly cheap and accessible, and this ultimate rare is terrible in comparison. I mean, if you guys haven't seen it, the only thing that has the ultimate rare foiling is the spellbinding circle in the background. So uh, it makes sense why people don't want the ultis. They'd rather want the QCRs from last year's tins, but I mean, it's still strange that people are paying for these. Nightmare Thrones are down to 25. It's not actually that bad. I think people are afraid that this is going to get reprinted in either Quarter Century Bonanza, or it could be in a tournament pack. I highly doubt it, but yeah, these two cards, I could see, like, with how good U-Bells being, I could see them maybe throwing them into QCRB, but I'm not holding too much hope for that. Lubellion we'll cover later. Imseti from the tins is holding 23. It's actually one of the few cards that is above the value of a tin, so not terrible. Diabell Stars Originals is holding about 30. I believe the new one's about 20, 15. OG Secret Thrusts are 45. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, yes, it is just, you could pick up the secrets, but Thrust is such a good card. I mean, it's hard to say whether it's better to pick up the secrets or the prismatics, but whatever. Stellaris holding 18 to 20. Dominus Perch holding 14. The two bonfires, the OG is 25. The new one is 15. That's surprising to me considering this is actually a secret. This is an ultra. And then Nightmare Apprentice is only 30. I think this might go up a little bit when we get the new Chimera stuff, but I'm not holding out too much hope. All right, let's tackle the elephant in the room, the tins. Tins are shit. I agree they're shit. If you guys want a full video of me like explaining the problems and the things that I think they could have done better, leave a comment. I'd be happy to go over that. I think I do know all of the things they did wrong at this point. But moving past that, let's just look at the actual cards. All right, only 4 cards in the set are the value of a tin. That's the QCR Blue Eyes, that is the Imseti, the Thrust, and the SP. You don't pull any of those in your tin, you don't make your money back. And yes, tins are always a more like, oh, let's get all these nice reprints and everything. Set is not usually a value set. That being said, these tins are so bloated, it's almost impossible to pull anything that makes it feel good. I opened a single tin. I have a case coming. I'm not going to open it because I opened one, both to support my local OTS and just because I wanted to see how bad it was. I believe I pulled a QCR Ruby Carbuncle. I pulled a Big Welcome Labyrinth, and then I think I pulled the guilty fusion guy that was only good because you could super poly away Baron. Yeah, these tins are bad, and I don't recommend anyone open them. Normally, I the tins are fine. You can open them. They have some good reprints. Don't open these. There's almost nothing you can pull that makes it worth it. But let's go ahead and get into it. Chaos Angel holding 15. I'm curious to see what the original printing of this card is, but we'll see. It is holding about 35. Okay. So that's not terrible. Diabell Stars, Wanted, and Bonfire all holding 15, so if you guys want to play Snake Eyes or any kind of fire Diabell Star deck, you can. I think obviously Rescue Ace is definitely a solid strategy. Fire King is a really good build that's doing well in tournaments, and even things like Infernoid are options. Transaction Rollback is down to only 13. The only deck that I think really uses this is obviously Paleo, but I think Labyrinth, and nobody's really playing Labyrinth right now. So if you guys want to pick up your rollbacks, I mean, obviously we can't do Beatrice shenanigans anymore, but it is still a good card. It is still a card that will be powerful and playable. Trident Dragion, the reprint's only 13. Honestly, this makes Tenpai pretty budget. I think you're looking at 10 for this, 15 a piece for, you're looking at 45 to 50 for the Hydras and the Genrokus, and then the rest of the deck is just candy. There's almost nothing. So you're looking at Tenpai apart from the hand traps, extra deck, apart from the hand traps exactly. You're looking at a playable meta deck for about $60 to $70. It's actually not bad. Typhon's 11, Bestial Dissipator is 10. These are great. Quem is down to only 10, so that brings Branded back into being a budget deck now. It wasn't a budget deck, now it is. Kingsark is 8. That's really surprising. I mean, I don't know how much the original printing of Kingsark is right now, but I'm curious to find out, because it was just an Ultra. I can imagine it's only 2 to 3. It's actually holding 6. That's surprising. So if you are going to pick it up, I guess just pick up the Prismatic Secrets. Alt Art Red Eyes, Alt Art Harpy's Feather Duster, Alt Art Raigeki, all kind of cool cards. Thea the Primal Being, I wish this was better. There may be a deck that could take advantage of it in the future, but probably not. Centurions are pretty budget now. You're looking at $5 for all Trudea, Oath, and Primera, so it's not too expensive. Grand Zeno being reprinted is pretty cool, so if you want to play dinosaurs, you can. Crimson Dragon is whatever. There weren't a lot of decks making use of it, the only one being Centurion. Big Welcome getting reprinted along with RES, which I didn't see. Did we skip over it, or is it just that cheap? It is just that cheap, it looks like. It's on here. It's not even on the second page. Wow, where is it? Oh, I didn't mean to skip all the way to the end. Professional YouTuber here, you know. Big Welcome's only holding 5, so Labyrinth, if it's not on this page, it means that it's budget again. You can pick up Labyrinth for almost nothing. Tier Cash is 5, not surprising considering how many tier stands there are. What else? Rev Synchron is holding 3, pick up your Rev Synchrons. Unchained Soul Lord of Yama is only 3. I will probably pick up QCR or a Prismatic Secret Rares of this just to, you know, sort of pseudo max rarity out my Unchained core. Unfortunately, I'm never gonna buy Starlight or Ruhas, but yeah, what can you do? I miss Unchained format. Kashtira Riseheart making me wish I didn't spend 10 to 15 on the copy I did, but I used it for what it was worth. Other than that, oh yeah, look at that. Areas is only $2. Yeah, Labyrinth is cheap. Tokens are $3. I was talking about this with some guys at the locals I went to last night that didn't fire off. If these tokens were QCRs, I think everyone would be so much happier about it. Because like a QCR token would be cool, right? If they were QCRs, that would be interesting. The fact that they took up the secret slot and everything you wanted is in the secret slot, really bad. Alt Art Tunings, yeah. Now we're getting to everything that's like $2 or less. So if you haven't seen anything at this point, or I haven't talked about it, it means it's less than $2, which means it's not worth talking about. So, I mean, overall the tins are fine, but they're really not good. All right. Let's move on. So I want to talk about Phantom of Chaos. My boy Will turned me on to these. Apparently obviously people play these in Edison format, but more people are picking them up because there's apparently an FTK in Chimera right now, or that you can do. They use Phantom of Chaos and everyone's favorite Sky Scourge Norloras. This card is $7 for the super rare and about 50 for the ultimate rare. I could see this being in QCRB. QCR Quarter Century Bonanza is a set that is going to be reprinting a lot of classic cards. There's a card that doesn't have any reprints. I can see it. There's a card that I want to cover here. It's Draco Connection. The OG Ultra from Galactic Overlord is $2, and the Ultimate Rare is about 4. If you guys haven't read this card before, it's reveal a dragon in your hand, add a dragon with the same level from your deck to your hand, then shuffle the revealed monster into deck. It's basically just a consistency piece for any dragon deck, and it theoretically can come up in a lot of decks, right? Like, I was considering it in like a Light and Darkness dragon build that was kind of just supposed to be fun. I think you can consider it in something like Blue Eyes. You could put back an OG Blue Eyes to grab an alternative or a Jet or something like that. I think this is one of those cards that's just waiting to be broken, and there aren't too many listings of it online. So if you guys are looking for a penny stock, I would actually say this is pretty good. I mean, the ultimate rare is only being $4. If there's any deck that can take advantage of it and really likes this card, it'll spike. It'll spike hard. I want to cover Cordius the Triphasic Demon. If you guys have never seen this card, don't feel bad. The only reason this card is seeing any contemplation of play is because this is the best target for heavy polymerization. There's really not another card that's a good target. All right, and the reason is because I thought about this. Guardian Chimera, you have to use cards in your hand and field, so you can't take advantage of heavy poly. There may be like some hero cards like Wake Up that you could use, but your normal combo already searches the normal polymerization cards, so you don't even really need to worry about that. And then the other card that I thought was going to be good was Predaplant Trifidoviridim, but that card specifically says 3 dark monsters on the field. The whole point is you can fuse away cards that have Predaplant counters on them. So yeah, this is the only card that is a decent heavy polymerization target. It's a Synchro monster, an Xyz, and a Link. Once while this fusion summon card is face up, You can pay life points of multiples of 2,000, apply one of these effects. Add a spell trap from your grave to your hand, destroy 3 cards your opponent controls. This turn, this gains half the attack equal to half the difference between your life points and your opponent's. Also, other monsters you control can't attack. So, it is basically like heavy poly. You get to pop 3 and Foolish Burial 3 monsters. So you can Foolish, like, Herald the Arclight and some other things, but this is the only good target that I could find. So if you guys have an Ultra from Blazing Vortex, I guess maybe it might see a spike up. You can see it went from 20 cents to 22, but yeah, I don't think this is going to be great. A card that I do think is great is Kashtira Fenrir. This card has survived being hit for yet another list, and it's only about $12 to $13. If you guys don't have Fenrirs, maybe pick them up. I mean, they're a solid card. I don't think it's going to be hit. I think at this point we've all just kind of accepted Fenrir's pretty fine. It's a decent going second board breaker. It sucks that it can be part of your turn 1 end board, but it's pretty fair, all things considered. Did also want to cover Lubellions. The tin prints from last year are $12. The OG secrets are $15. If you guys don't have your Lubellions and you want to play like Bestial something or other, this is a card that you will need, and it's pretty cheap right now. Want to cover the Melodious cards. I was surprised that Ostinato didn't get a reprint, but it's only $2 to $4 for the Ostinatos. And with Quarter Century, the Quarter Century Rare First Movement Solo, that takes a lot of the price out of Melodious. And if you look at the Melodious cards, I mean, I'm not seeing, other than this Aria, which is a Starfoil, which means it has another printing. Let's see if we can find it. Let's stop. We're not in the Dark Ages. Aria the Melodious Diva. Yeah, you're looking at 50 cents for that. So other than, like, your Schubertas and maybe your, I don't even know if you played Bloom Prima, you're not looking at a very expensive deck. And this deck is really nice. You can take advantage of the heralds, the herald of the orange light, purple light, and green light. So you can just have a ton of negates. Also, with Eva coming back to 1, there's a potential that we could, make use of that in this deck. It's kind of interesting. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. Maybe consider picking it up. I certainly am. Lastly, I think I want to talk about Vanquish Soul. So Vanquish Soul, you can see all the CRs are holding decent value, $20 to $40, depending on which print you are at. But the only card that didn't get reprinted, so if we look at the whole thing, like Mad Love's up to like 8 to 12 because it didn't get reprinted either. But Rosin's only $1, Borger's only $1. Pantera didn't get reprinted, but that's $5, so you're not looking too terrible there. But Caesar Valius, it's up to 12 to 20. I mean, it only 4 listings, so it's been bought out pretty much entirely. I mean, just conceptually, right? Like, this is a decent deck. It's seeing constant experimentation. It's basically just Sky Striker 2.0. And Caesar Valius went from like $2 to like 12. So I don't know, if you have Wild Survivor Bulk, look through it. Maybe you have some Caesar Valiuses. Maybe you made some nice change. Other than that, we have Stake Your Soul, which only about $2 for the Stake Your Soul, $6 for the original. And lastly, Rock of the Vanquisher. It's only $1, $2. The ulti here is only about 7 or 8. I've pulled a couple of these actually, and I'm holding them because if this deck ever gets like insane support that becomes really meta, these are going to go up, and I'm going to be happy I held on to them instead of selling them at like 10, 12. You can see these were never very expensive. And just because I hate myself, I'm going to look up the Exodia. Exodia, the Forbidden One, Ultimate Rare. $11. Actually, this is This is more expensive than the Rocks of the Vanquishers I have. But yeah, that is today's Market Watch. I hope you guys did enjoy. It's a bit of a long one, but if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. If you really enjoyed, make sure to subscribe. Tell me what to cover in the next Market Watch, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.